Hi, how's it in the name of Christ? How you doing? It's your girl Cranky. I hope you're good. I hope you're peachy. I hope you're Stella, and I hope you're in a neat little bunch. Yes, that is intentional. I am hiding my hair because it looks a mess. There's no water in my neighborhood until the 16th because of whatever. They're doing repairs. I don't know. And so I can't wash my hair. Anyway, yeah, I am wearing the same skirt as last time. Whatever deal. Yeah. Woo, it's hot. Even with all these rumblings of thunder, it's boiling. Like, it's crazy scorching. How shall I put this hat? Yo, no. It's violent. It's violent with heat, but there's no ice pack at the back there because I forgot to move it from the car to heat it, to cool it, sorry. But there is a cup with a whole bunch of ice in it, and hopefully that'll be enough to keep my phone cool. Oh, y'all, I don't know, like I can't deal. And the topic of the day is overheating with no ice pack. And that over there is not so much about Johannesburg and how hot it is right now in South Africa, but about South Africa. Ooh, it's about SA. It's about Afrika du Sud. It's about Mzansi. You Guyashisa Apa. Y'all are overheating. I've got distractions, but I'm gonna carry on talking anyway through them because this message is important and it's gotta go out. Y'all are overheating. I am literally, severely and violently spiritually attacked because people are thinking that I'm done for. People are thinking it's only a matter of time. There are literally people planning around the fact that I'm not going anywhere and it's only a matter of time before I capitulate. There are people who have already cultured their hearts, like as in prepared their hearts for my death. They're waiting for me to die because they're looking at my YouTube channel. You are playing games. South Africa is overheating like my phone on a hot day with no ice pack. So therefore there's nothing that's going to prevent it from shutting down. There is nothing that's going to prevent this here country from shutting down. Do not say that I did not warn you, and you're gonna watch me like Vanessa Williams from a distance. You are going to watch me from a distance. Do you understand? I am interrupted, but it's okay. I'm gonna speak through this because I can't not get this message out today. It is so important. Because for me, not so much for you, maybe for you, but it doesn't matter because nobody is going to watch my content until an opportune moment. So therefore, I'm not anticipating that I'm going to catch any kind of break concerning my content. Not yet. There are people who, like former friends, even family members, former colleagues, people that I used to know, that are preparing their hearts for my death because they thoroughly think that I am way in over my head and the stuff that I have come to believe is a lie. They are waiting for me to die, standing back having done this to a person's life, and all that Christ will have me tell you, share with you, is this. South Africa, you know how my cell phone device, I need an ice pack behind it to record these videos because I don't have a recording studio, I don't have ventilation, I don't have a cool room to record so that my devices don't overheat. So I gotta record in the car. I also don't have a vehicle that is moving so I can switch it on and maybe put on the aircon so the car's cool. Therefore my phone won't overheat in these kinds of temperatures, absent of me putting an ice pack behind my phone. Somewhere along the way I'm going to be talking and then my phone is just going to die off. My applications are going to close and then I'm going to get a warning message telling me phone overheating, can't open certain apps. Doesn't matter what quality of phone you have. It could be the baddest and most recent iPhone in the game, or some kind of Android device, the most recent one that cost you like tens of thousands of rands. Okay? The quality of the phone is irrelevant. When the heat catches up, it catches up, it catches up. It does not matter what quality of phone you have. When the heat is all up in your phone, it will not work. It will not move. You will have to cool it down. You will have to put it in the refrigerator. You will have to wait for it to simmer down before anybody can work. Before you can do anything on your phone. Before you can make a call, nothing but proper. And the thing that consumes the most heat life on your phone is like, you know, activity like this, like recording a video. That can crazy overheat your phone like no man's business. How expensive your phone is, how new it is, what awesome technology it has that's robust and slick is irrelevant. Human individuals. Because when a phone is hot, it's hot, it's hot. And until such time that it cools down, can't nobody use it. Until such time that it cools down, nobody will be able to use that phone. And from what the law shows me, South Africa is just like an overheating cell phone device. Absent of there being some kind of cooling atmosphere, cooling ventilation, like anything at all to simmer down the heat. Absent of that, it will inevitably shut down. And it will be shut down for a season before any motioning, any activity, any missions to recover it can be embarked on, before anybody can do anything anymore. It's going to be a while. It's going to be a while before anyone can do anything. It's going to be minutes, moments. You know, with the phone, you have to let it simmer down for a few minutes. I personally put it in the refrigerator, sometimes in the deep freezer for like a minute and a half to cool it down, to expedite the recovery of my applications. And whatever application you were recording on, whatever settings you had put in it to record, they will also be gone. They will also be gone. Like, you know, this caption that I have down here, that overheating without an ice pack. If my phone overheats and there's no ice pack, by the time it comes back on again, I am literally too distracted to record this message because there's like so much activity outside, but I'm gonna carry on anyway. By the time I come back, everything is gone. I have to set up again. I have to put the caption again. I have to do whatever. Basically, I have to start from scratch. That's what that's about. I have to start from scratch, prepping my stuff, and then plan next time for it to not overheat. And no, simply putting it in the refrigerator and then using your phone again does not guarantee that when you start to use it again, it's not going to overheat again. You need to basically realize that you can't carry on like this. It's what I'm getting at. You need to realize that you cannot carry on like this. Okay, there is literally too much activity going on around me. I can't take it. Most of today's message is going to be out in the wilderness, even though there's all this thundering. Because there's literally too much activity outside. I can't. I've got too much on my chest to share. And it's all very taxing. Let's go check outside. Just in case you were wondering, that's what I was talking about. My ice pack is gone, but this cup is cold enough to help the process along. Let's go outside. There is literally too much distraction, too much activity. People are walking around me, and this message, I need to speak with candor without trying to find words in my vocabulary that are euphemistic in order to, you know, not be met with black attitude and creasing foreheads or whatever. I don't want to be eavesdropped on. This is a very important message. It's drizzling, and I don't know if it's going to pour down rain, but I will basically share my heart's content until such time that I can't anymore. I wish I could just chill even in the complex, just sit somewhere But there is no bench that I can sit on. I'm sorry for the wind. There's no bench or anything like that that I can sit on, that I can think of that is in existence in this complex, that'll enable me to just speak at my leisure. I wish I could have stayed in my car, but there's too much activity outside. Like literally they're moving furniture from outside and into the house because of all of this construction work. And so basically they're just standing where it is that I'm recording. It's too much. Listen. Okay, there's a lot of wind outside, so my phone is not going to overheat. Temperatures are sufficiently cool for me to record outside. So let's just give this prophecy, okay? Maybe I'll have one part. I don't think I'll have two parts. Goodness, on the street. I tend to do my first two parts in the car and then only I walk outside in the latter part. So let's hope to get this message out as quickly as I possibly can. Do you know that there are people who are planning around my sorrow because they thoroughly think that there is no one coming for me? I don't know how many times I gotta tell you this. Before the Lord delivers His church from a slew of insults, a plethora of sorrow, there tends to be so much silence around the Christian. There tends to be what looks like nothing is giving. No one is coming. They appear so imprisoned, irrevocably, irrecoverably, that frankly it just becomes pitiable to look at them. It becomes so heartbreaking to look at them. You look at the Lord has a thing about creating a mammoth optical illusion. And the purpose of creating that optical illusion is often, always, for no other reason but to hand people over to a debased mind. To give you your wildest dreams because you did not want repentance. I hate that I thought of this. I have to redo this whole video outside, for crying out loud. Especially now because it's like rumbling, but whatever. Let me just, I don't know. I want to sit. There's somewhere where, like, I'm not gonna just like it. There's literally nothing, nowhere that I can think about to like just sit and record. I don't know how long I was talking for without recording because I'm distracted. I just want to sit somewhere, so I think I'll sit on that little stonicky and just speak my leisure, looking like I'm cozy on the side of the street. Like, yeah, whatever. It is so uncomfortable. It is so uncomfortable. I wish I was in my car. Like, I probably wish I was in my car, but I'm not. Okay. This nation is judged. It's done for. It's finished. Okay, I cannot sit here. And so it's what you call this? It's just not comfortable. It's too low, and maybe I'll sit here. I'm not sitting on bird poop. Does this one have bird poop? Give me something promising, crying out loud. Oh no. I do not know where to go. Everything is just dirty. Fine, just sit on this thing. How's that? Yeah, that's a little better. You can see me, and that's all that matters. When I get uncomfortable, I'll stand. Okay. Alright. This will give. This will do. There are people planning, and complete strangers even, around my life, y'all. Like, you know, when things get put up for auction. Like, imagine if you had a... Yes, thank you very much, actually. This is the perfect analogy. Back in the day when I was still employed and looking to buy property, considering it, contemplating, I thought to purchase property on auction belonging to other people, essentially, that could not pay their bonds because it comes cheap. It goes to the highest bidder, and it does not sell for the price that the bank is just trying to recoup their costs. And once they've recouped their costs, it doesn't matter what profit over and above it makes from that sale. It just wants its money back. So if you buy that house on proper, what is this, with what it is that the bank is owed, you could get it at cost. Okay, they're just trying to salvage their costs. of what it is that they loaned an individual concerning that particular house, and then you will have it at a bargain. I thought to buy a house that way, but it didn't sit right with me, because I felt like, I don't know if I can, as a Christian, I don't know if something like that can chill on my conscience and me not feel some kind of way about it. So I chose not to buy stuff on auction. I chose not to buy property on auction, and it was a blessing in disguise, because I could not afford to buy property, given that I eventually lost everything. Okay, I would not have even been able to maintain that home loan, because I in and of myself would have probably had my house foreclosed on, and that house of mine also auctioned. Okay, cars also get sold like that. There is this impound place that police take cars that are stolen or abandoned or in car accidents and people fleeing from the scene, or where the people in question passed away in the car accidents and nobody claims the vehicle, blah blah whatever. There is a place where they send cars like those, and until such time that the government can figure out, well, not government, sorry, but the people, like relatives, can salvage the goods or whatever, it chills there. But there is a certain amount of time that following it progressing from the date of that vehicle being impounded like that, if you don't collect it, if nobody claims it, if nobody comes forward, if the family, the next of kin, or even the owner of that car does not come forward, or vehicles that are recovered that were stolen, if the owner does not come forward, if the police call and say, hey, we found your vehicle, the police then enjoy the process themselves of auctioning this vehicle to the highest bidder. That's why sometimes you find a whole bunch of police officers who don't earn the best of salaries, right? Can be out here driving Mercedes-Benz, they can be out here driving BMWs, they can be out here driving Range Rovers, they can be driving some pretty big cars. It's basically the law that if after a certain amount of time you don't come and claim this particular proper piece of property, it is up for grabs. So the police also in and of themselves vie for this auction. It goes on auction. Regular Janes and regular Joes can go and buy it, but also the police, of course, given that they're the first come first served, they're the ones that have access and are privy to these vehicles or property, whatever might be the property. If it does not get claimed within a certain amount of time, it does not just hang out in evidence, especially if it is not part of a crime, especially if it is not something that is used by forensics in solving a crime. Somebody got to claim that property, and if they don't claim it, it can sell 1 for the price of 10. It can sell 10 for the price of 1, 20 for the price of 1, 2 for the price of 1. You ought to be buying a car that costs 500,000 rands for 150,000. That is a travesty and a sorrow for the people in question that are in pain, that have lost that cannot claim it. I could imagine the sorrow of the man or woman that is out here having their house auctioned for a fraction of the price. But that's just life. It's the way that things are. Gunjalo. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, very well. I similarly too have almost endured something like that before, because of the sorrow of my soul, and having lost everything, right? I could not pay my way even in the slightest. I couldn't pay my way even in the slightest, and so having placed a whole bunch of my furniture in storage, I could not pay the storage fee, and the storage company would call me when I had defaulted for a month, 2 months, 3, and they would say, Karabo, listen lady, if you don't pay your storage fee, your stuff is going to be placed on auction, and we are going to sell it for the minimum price of how much you owe, and the people who bid for your stuff, they're going to get your fridge, they're going to get your bed, they're going to get your shoes, they're going to get your kitchen utensils, they're going to get your curtains, everything that you have stuffed in there that belongs to you, your TV. It's going to go for 5,000 rands. You could have bought furniture in total for 150,000 rands that fills up your house, and somebody out here rocks up and buys it for 18,000 rands. Somebody out here buys it for 10,000 rands, 15. Yeah, I was scared out of my mind that would happen. And one day, okay, when my because I kept on hustling, I kept on selling things in my apartment in order to make that rent, to make that storage rent. Mind you, that storage rent was nothing. It was like, I think, $560 a month. It was nothing, but that's how much I had nothing to my name. I did not have even $560 to pay storage, and so I would sell my stuff, toasters, kettle, vases, whatnot. Cash converters knows my face, especially the one in Randburg. Okay, That's what's good. Sold all these things so that I could meet that rental just before my stuff would be up for auction. I would sell something in the house. I would wait for it to be stretched out as far out as possible, because I was hoping in that time that I would get a job. I was hoping in that time that something would give, that all my feats to try and make money would give, but nothing would give, and then I would have to sell something in my house, so that my furniture that cost about, at that stage in total, about 150,000 bucks, so that it wouldn't just go to somebody for 20,000 rands, highest bidder. I also had really new furniture because I had bought new furniture before losing everything, before the case came up at me that was uncouth at MTN. I had newly moved out of my mother's house, because you see, I used to have my own apartment before, but then when I moved out, I wanted to start from scratch, everything afresh and new. So I paid off my debts and everything. Therefore, where it is that I would be moving in to get my own apartment, I would have to buy everything from scratch, all the way down to utensils like teaspoons and whatnot. I gave all my furniture to my cousin, the one who betrayed me, living daylights out of me, the one that used to be my best friend. She used to struggle a little bit financially. I gave everything of mine to her, like everything, even a rooster that is used as an egg. A rooster that is used as an egg container, like a thing that has eggs in it. Like down, basically, I'm trying to help you understand that ornaments alongside big chunky pieces of furniture, like washing machines. That guy is always hooting at me. Like washing machines, couches, beds, every type, like study desks, big chunky pieces, as well as decorative ornaments, like little vases, little kitchen roosters to keep eggs in, teaspoons, paintings. I gave her my whole house of furniture, curtains, like everything. I put it in storage, and I said that you can take it, all of it. The only thing you have to pay for is the storage where I have put them, because I wanted as a fresh start, a new leaf. I had given my life to Christ, and I did not want anything that reminded me of my ex-boyfriend, and he was always in my apartment. So I gave my cousin all of my furniture. Literally, that chick was given a boost by all my furniture. I am telling you right now. And then she stabbed me in the back, betrayed the living daylights out of me, took away my whole face, my whole life. She took away my career, my education. She took away everything with witchcraft. After I gave her a full house of furniture, literally she could have she could have just rented an apartment and put my stuff in there and not have to buy a single thing. Only thing that she would need to move in there with were her bags, the clothes on her body, her bags, and her children. She and a child. At the time, she just had one kid. All she needed to do was just merely move in with her suitcase of clothing and bring her, of course, her toothpaste, toothbrush, buy her own groceries. But furniture was there like a bam. I gave her all my furniture. So because I gave her all my furniture, when then I had to move out of home very suddenly, because my mom and I have got a very tumultuous relationship, kicked me out of home, had to quickly organize furniture for myself, blah blah whatever, bought furniture, some of it on HP, others cash, blah blah whatever. And I have a thing about living in an empty house. I'm not one of those people that buys like one bed, a bed, and then a couch after 5 months, and then a TV after 7 months. I buy everything in one fell sweep, like, because I can't live in a house that has got a void or an emptiness in it. So my apartment in 4 ways, my little one bed apartment in 4 ways was fully furnished. When I moved in, within a month, I had everything. Within a month, I had everything. I only slept on a mat on the floor for about 3 weeks while my stuff was being delivered, while I was shopping around for furniture. So every last one of my items of furniture, literally every last one, without even one exception, was new. My dining room suite was new. My couches were new. My wing bag was new. My utensils, my kitchen, teaspoons, tablespoons, knife, blah blah, knives new, curtains new, carpets new. Everything was new. Everything, every single thing. And I have got taste, I've got style. My furniture, I bought it from stores like Rochester, Corey Craft, scatter cushions from places like Boardman's at home, whatnot. I have a thing. I am extremely creative, and I know how to decorate. My stuff was top notch. Do you understand? Yeah, that's what's good. Weatherlease, that's where I bought my furniture. High end. Still to this day, even though it's got scratches from being moved around, you can see that this is some pretty expensive furniture. I'm standing now because my buttock from those railings is killing me softly. That's what I did. And within mere months of buying my furniture and living in my apartment comfortably, everything suddenly fell apart at MTN. Lost my job, lost everything, and now my stuff had to be put in storage. Literally, I stayed in my apartment for 6 months. I had a 1-year lease. I was only there for 6 months. It's like spiritual war, demonic attack, Satan coming at you like a flood. Within 6 months, I could not anymore afford my way. I had to move out of that house and put my stuff, all of it, in storage, thinking that it's only a matter of time. I'm gonna get a job soon, obviously, duh, okay. I'm obviously gonna get a job soon. Told myself that that's what's good. So when I get a job, I'll then move back in with my furniture. Everything is still new, everything is beautiful. Look at me 10 years down the line, still being unemployed. 10 years down the line, I'm still unemployed because South Africa has seen it fit to shut me out of the workforce. South Africa has made its prerogative to handle me. It has rejected the saints of the living God. It has kicked me to the curb. It has disregarded my skills, my talents, what I offered, the fact that I have years of experience having worked in its economy. It has completely shunned me. Do you understand? This nation, to a point of so much devastating poverty, in a country that claims to want to eradicate unemployment, that I today can no longer work. I am blacklisted. I recently had a cousin who gave me a job and then rescinded. There is no one who will listen to me. And for 10 years, that's been the case. And so therefore, it appears as if though there is nowhere else a person can go when they're there other than to die, right? A person's purpose is fulfilled in this world by things like employment. You work by the sweat of your brow, you earn a salary, you raise children, you get to an old age, you go on holiday, you do whatever. A life is made up of basically milestones when you are, from the time you're a child. Like when you're a kid, your milestone is finishing primary school and high school. And then when you're a young adult, it's finishing university, higher learning. And then after that, it is working a 9 to 5, trudging through the corporate system or whatever it is that makes a living for you for the next remaining 50 years of your life, in the time of which you are getting married, you're having children, in the time of which you are planning holidays, doing whatever it is that you're doing, right? That is a person's life. I'm sorry for all this wind. It's going to interrupt with the quality of my message, but I hope to get it out anyway despite this wind. Yeah, that's what a person does with their lives. So when then all of a sudden at the age of 29, they put a dead break on that and they cease, just a dead break, and they say you're gonna stop. Like at just 29, they say
are not allowed to be parked.
Hello, guy 29. They say that you're just gonna put a dead break on everything that you are doing. And all the milestones from that time, from that date. So at that stage, I had done primary school and high school. I had done higher learning while trying to finish my degree. That was put a dead break in it. I had done a corporate. I was thinking about things like buying a property. Hey, I was waiting on God for a husband so that I could go and do that whole having children thing. So we can do that whole planning holidays and seeing the world and refurbishing houses thing. Basically that which gives a person purpose. I was planning on that at 29. I had a career and now I was looking forward to family. That which people do when they get to certain ages. Okay, it's starting to drizzle hard, so I'm gonna finish this conversation in the car. Hopefully it is going to be doable. Hopefully there's not much activity because now the rain drops, as you can see on the floor. They're so big that I'm gonna be doused, I'm gonna be drenched, and we're not looking for that. I'm not about that. I'm not here for that. Okay, yeah, at 29 I was planning, of course. Woo! Let me walk a little bit faster. At 29, I was planning that. And then South Africa made a decision at the tiny, tender little age of 29. I might as well have been in a diaper. I might as well have been in a pram, a stroller, a baby stroller. I might as well have been with a dummy in my mouth, a pacifier. The way I was so young, I might as well have just been newly weaned off my mother's breast. The way I was so young, I was at the beginning of my life, at the prime of my life, and South Africa decided to put a dead break. Cheap! They decided to put a dead break on a woman's legacy and said, see what you do with yourself from the age of 29, with no ability to make money, with nobody coming for you, with no ability to work, no ability to meet a man and go out there and have babies, no ability to live. Basically that which is the remaining trajectory of a person's life from that age. Like I said, I was 29. And they said no. I mean, if you're going to tell a person sit at home and do nothing and gather dust and not fulfill the purpose of your life that most people fulfill at your particular age, they're saying die. They might not have said it in so many words, but they were literally setting me up for suicide failure. Okay, let me jog to my vehicle because this rain is out here giving. I apologize, picture quality is not going to be the best because it's kind of dark outside. I'm actually glad I came back because I was missing my water. Because in this sultry heat of Johannesburg, a sip of water every 2 seconds is imperative. Otherwise you will be parched. You will be parched to death. People can perish faster from dehydration than they can from hunger. Do you know that? Our bodies need water. They're made up with, I believe they're made up of, I believe, 98% water. Maybe not 98%, but some pretty high percentage. Okay, very well. My ice pack is over there. The people outside cannot hear what I'm saying because the rain is so loud on the roof. I don't appreciate having closed my door because it's what do you call this? I don't appreciate having closed my door. My little ice pack at the back is still working swimmingly because it's really hot in here. I would much rather have a sliver of air coming in, but there's just too much activity going on outside, so we will close the door. Yes, like, oh no, sorry, the other day I had, like, I keep, because my phone is bent when it's chilling over there, my knee, I don't see that is visible. Yeah, so the other day I had to put a blur there. I'm sorry for what you might have seen. Okay, listen. Yes, imagine getting to the age of 29 and whatever milestones a young woman at that age typically might be rolling around in. A whole bunch, like a band of miscreants, like a whole bunch of fiery darts of the enemy, then come at you and say, you're not going to work anymore, or you're going to do what we want you to do. You're not going to have children anymore, or you're going to do them the way that we want you to do them. You're not going to live your life anymore, or you're going to live it the way that we want you to live it. Listen. South Africans made a decision that being a blood-bought, born-again child of the living God. Woo! I'm hot in here. I'm sorry. I'm going to capitalize on this wind from outside. I apologize. I'm not killing myself with all this heat. Yeah, being a blood-bought, born-again child of the living God. Being a blood-bought, born-again child of the living God, I had chosen religion. I had found God. At the age of 26 and a half, I got redeemed in Christ. And 3.5 years later, a country whose constitution, according to section 2 of the Constitution, which is the Bill of Rights, according to my nation's canon, my nation's own statute, its own law, its own legislation, I had every right under heaven to choose God. I had the right to basically one day say, I want Jesus. I found God at 26 and a half, and South Africa basically made it clear that I don't care that the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, Act 108 of 1990, I believe 6. I don't care that according to that constitution, you have a right to find God. I don't care, because I am going to tell you what to do. All right? A whole bunch of witches made a decision, never mind you also, right? Never mind the constitution out here telling me that I have a right to freedom of religion. But this constitution also told me I have a freedom of expression. It also told me that I have a right, listen to this, right, to life. It also says that I have a right to make a living, basically to not be blocked, closed in on all sides concerning unemployment. Gauge this. That human right to earn a living in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights is responsible for some of the laws in this country that have been erected to eradicate things like keeping people out of employment because of a credit record. Historically in South Africa, if somebody tested badly on a credit check, you could just say, no, sorry, I don't want to hire you. But the Labor Relations Act, based on stipulations in the Constitution, altered that and said, no longer can you keep a person out from gainful employment because they've got a credit record, because how are they going to pay their debts off if they're not given an opportunity to work? So they came up with the Labor Relations Act saying that no longer should you discriminate on somebody's life based on a credit check. So frankly, based on that, they should have gone and taken it a step further and say that credit checks are no longer relevant, however, for certain industries, with the exception of the financial services industry, because you have to have displayed that you are financially responsible or whatever to work for certain financial services industries, companies, because of the fact that you're handling people's money. So you have to display that in and of yourself you're good, or you're a good steward of your own money. So save for the financial services industry, credit checks should not be getting done for any other job type. You should not be applying to be a project manager at a telecommunications company and them do a credit check. It's irrelevant. It is, however, relevant if you are going to be applying to be a financial advisor for Standard Bank. Then you can do a credit check and then decide not to employ somebody because it is material, their stewardship of finances to their job. That's what the Constitution basically started saying with the right to employment or right to earn a living. There then was the eradication in order to deal with the debt crisis in the country of things like a credit check being a problem. The National Credit Act as well came on play precisely because of banks out here giving people loans in the streets that could not afford to pay them. So now all of a sudden, because of the National Credit Act, people had to fill out when they're applying for home loans and personal loans and whatnot, what their commitments are, what they pay, your child's school fees, this, that, and the other. Whatever you have left over after your net salary deducts all of those things, then a decision is made by the banks if based on a monthly installment that you're paying the bank, can you afford it? Then they will give you a personal loan or reject it. Okay, the National Credit Act brought all those steps in play to make it harder for you to just get a loan at a whim, right? Because before they would just give people loans if they were not on the credit bureau. Now they can't give you a loan if you can't afford it, whether or not you are listed on the credit bureau or not. The reason for that was to eradicate more and more people finding themselves on the credit bureau. So therefore, the mixing or combining the National Credit Act alongside the Labor Relations Act, the Consumer Protection Act, the Credit Act, all these other basically financial laws alongside employment laws, together they were supposed to eradicate the unemployment crisis in the country and the debt crisis in the country, so as to award South Africans financial freedom, so as to make South Africa a wealthier country, to help us grow from strength to strength. That's what all these laws were supposed to achieve. But you see, I like to say that South Africa has got some of the baddest cannons in the game. We have got one of the baddest legislations in the game. We are among one of the freest countries in this world, and one of the most legally fantastic countries in the world. But you see, we are born as human beings to worship God, first and foremost, primary issue, right? And the law of the Lord is written on our hearts, another issue over there. We know what is inherently wrong, yet another issue over there. And so therefore, when we do it anyway, we display that we are guilty by mere virtue of our consciences making it clear that we are sinning against God. The law of God is therefore perfect. The law of God that chills on our hearts is perfect. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. The imperfection here lies in the lack of execution or effecting of said law as that in the human race. The disregard of the law is the reason why things fall apart at all in the sight of Christ, in terms of your right standing before Him. You have the law of God written on your heart, your conscience, the invisible qualities of God all over creation speak volumes. Do you understand? When you make a decision to ignore that lying is bad, ignore that fornication is bad, ignore that, etc., thieving, stealing, adultery, it is not that you live in a country that is happy with adultery, or you live under a God that is content with adultery. It's that despite knowing the law, you don't care. It's that despite knowing the law, you are a lawbreaker. You are not a stellar citizen, you are rubbish. Do you understand? You know the law that is right, you know the law that is correct and true. You are aware of it. Amen. However, in spite of your knowledge of it, you are what we call a rebel. Okay, a rebel. It's written in God's word that rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. Yeah, so you're a bunch of witches flying around on broomsticks in these streets when you disregard what God will have you do. So South Africa, being much like the law of God written on our hearts, has excellent canon. That's God out here judging you. I hope my cat's good, and I think the cat is in the house. Yeah. South Africa Of course, no nation can ever have perfect laws in the sight of God because we are sinners, okay? We accommodate random rubbish like abortion and random rubbish like, what you call this, gay marriage, wada. But some countries are better than others. It's like Animal Farm with of legislation. Some legislation of some countries is equal, but some legislation of some countries is more equal than others, okay? I didn't even know that Animal Farm was written by George Orwell. When I found out the other day, I was like, what a ghoulish man. What a ghoulish man. Anyway, whatever. So, seeing as all law across the world is equal, but some laws are more equal than others, we all agree that despotic countries or sovereigns like China, like Russia to a certain extent, like North Korea, are frankly ridiculous because their laws are systematically oppressive to the people on the ground. So when then you are going through a hard time on earth, really just going through it, your first thought is not, oh, I need to move to China. It's not, oh, I need to move to North Korea. It's not, oh, I need to move to Yemen. You are probably thinking, oh, I need to move to South Africa if I'm in Zimbabwe during the ZANU PF and Robert Mugabe problems. Oh, I need to move to Botswana. Oh, I need to move to Brazil, America, Canada. Oh, basically Australia. There are countries, or somewhere in Europe, there are countries where it's just easier to be a human being made in the image of God. There are countries where it's easier to be a human being made in the image of God than others. And these countries, what makes it better for you to be a human being therein living is their canon, it's their statute, it's their law. The laws of that country determine whether or not you're going to be given freedoms to walk around, bouncing up and down on the street like a kangaroo in peace. There are nations that just don't give people politeness. They don't care that you're a human being and you've got passions, you've got desires, you've got a heart, you've got pain receptors. When you get pricked, you bleed. There are nations that are so insensitive and so sovereign and despotic over its people with an iron fist ruling the people on the ground that everybody is out to trying to get out. Everybody's trying to break free. While my nation, South Africa, has not been that country. It wasn't. If anything, a whole bunch of countries from Northern Africa, coming like upper parts of Africa, were always trying to flood to this joint because we have some of the most liberating laws in Africa. We have some of the most lax is a strong word. South Africa's gone woke, so I think lax is appropriate in these streets. But what I wanted to say was, we as a nation have some of the most comfortable legislations to live under. We have a right to recourse under the law that gives us opportunity to not be delat, to not be disrespected by just about anything that comes out of these streets. South Africa, in its endeavors as well to eradicate unemployment, which was and is still maintained as a gargantuan thorn in the flesh of the country, they also came up with certain laws to make it really hella difficult for employers to get people fired. All right, after apartheid ended, of course, there needed to be recalibration and retribution, right? Recalibration of scales and retribution to the previously disadvantaged groups in this land. And so BEE laws were employed upon, employment equity was employed upon, blah, 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 what would be the tantamount of affirmative action, okay? But you see, the reason why there's so much striving and so much hostility on the ground, and why South Africa is one of the most unequal country, not one of the, actually, no, please. Let's give it its pedestal. Let's put it on the uppermost platform at the Olympics. It's won a gold medal. South Africa is the most unequal country in the world. It's not even one of the most. It is the most unequal country in the world. Not only that, it is also the worst country to live in as a woman. Frankly, our stats leave a lot to be desired. But why are we the most unequal country in the world? Because listen to this black government, okay? Apartheid ends, you take the reins over. You rule and you reign out here in these streets, and then you decimate the country. The black government created a groove between the races. When we entered into, not apartheid, but post-apartheid South Africa after 1994, this nation under Mandela was called a rainbow nation. That's how much we actually be giving multicolors. It was diverse: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet, the rainbow, the spectrum. Our nation was called the Rainbow Nation, okay? It is called the Rainbow Nation. And no, it has nothing to do with the LGBTQIA++++ community. Our country was called the Rainbow Nation. I'm sorry for all of how dark my car is now, it's just the way it is. It's like pouring down rain. It's raining cats and dogs outside. Okay? And South Africans were happy to essentially start afresh and do a new thing, you know what I'm saying? The Lord so blessed this country at the beginning of its democracy because of it having repented from apartheid that we were on a roll, even in sports. In the very beginning of our democracy, we won the World Cup final against the Netherlands, and we did that recently again, but it had never been done since that back in the day. We won the Africa Cup of Nations, something we have not done pretty much ever since. The Lord gave us the Africa Cup of Nations. He gave us the Rugby World Cup. He gave us Hezekiel Sipeng. He gave us all of these athletes that were out here killing it in the Olympics. Mind you, South Africa was before. You're another reprieve of our persons from apartheid South Africa, the repealing of apartheid. In the days of apartheid, prior to the repealing of it, because we were a cray-cray country that were doing cray-cray things, we got ostracized from the Olympics. We got ostracized from international events like the Olympics because we were racist as a country. So when we finally broke free and could now run at the Olympics, South Africa was out just showing countries flames. We had these fast athletes. We had these swimmers. Remember Penny, not Sparrow. Penny Sparrow is the racist one on Facebook. But there was a Penny lady that won some Olympic swimming championship back in the day. I forgot, but her name was Penny. You remember Penny? That fish lady from South Africa that are just showing the world flames. The Lord gave us sporting success. The Lord gave us economic success. When I was in high school, South Africa was called an emerging market. When I was in the first year of university, I did this one subject that I absolutely loathed, but I did it for a few weeks and then I dropped the subject. But in the one lecture that I was there at, international relations, I hated it. Okay, they said that South Africa was not only an emerging market. I learned about, South Africa was okay. I don't even know where I stopped recording because, for crying out loud, I've been speaking for like ever and a day. In international relations and that subject at varsity, I found out that South Africa was, as an emerging market, looking to be among the first African countries vying for first world status as a country in Africa, and that we were supposed to be Africa's leading economy. We were at that stage the biggest economy in Africa. We've now been overtaken by Nigeria. We are still Africa's most industrialized economy. However, we are growing at a slower rate than our neighboring countries that we used to help. In the days of apartheid and newly after apartheid was repealed, do you know that South Africa used to provide... South Africa, I'm sorry for that, please. I hope, let's just listen over the thunderous strikes outside. South Africa used to be, listen to this, we used to give help, supply electricity to our neighboring countries. Yes, Lesotho and Botswana were part of South Africa, but we used to give electricity, I believe, to like Zimbabwe and Namibia and basically nations that are in the lower parts of Africa, our fellow Southern African nations. Our Eskom, yes, this one that's struggling to feed us with electricity. Our Eskom used to feed those countries with electricity. And look at us now today being unable to switch anything on anymore. All right, that was South Africa. That was South Africa fresh out of apartheid, and in the very beginning stages, we were given the baddest athletes in the game, and we were also given economic importance such that we are the only African nation to be selected to join BRICS. What do you call this? That coalition of nations that is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. We are the only African nation chosen to be a member of BRICS. That is how on a roll we were. And yet now today, Nigeria is Africa's leading economy. Why, oh why did Jesus Christ on high ditch you like a hot potato, oh South Africa? Your wickedness, your idolatry, your involvement in dark arts, and also because of how it is that the black government in particular, the black community that now was given wealth after apartheid ended because of how it refused to distribute resources, and so therefore rightly what is the word that I'm looking for? Rightly strengthened the economic muscle of South Africans in totality, especially the previously disadvantaged. On a sliding scale, black people were the most disadvantaged, followed shortly afterwards by colored people, and then Indians. It's like I'm forcing to open this door because it's so hot in here, but it's raining cats and dogs, and the cats and dogs are also very loud, so I don't even know whether I'm coming or going. Anyway, the South African government was supposed to retribute resources. It was supposed to recalibrate scales. It was supposed to economic empower black people and other previously disadvantaged groups like Indians and the coloreds, etc. We were supposed to basically fix this rainbow nation of ours. And the Lord brought us together in camaraderie by giving us, like I said, the African Cup of Nations. He gave us the World Cup Rugby. He gave us sporting success, and there is nothing that brings a country together more than sports. So the Lord made us all love each other because we were winning international competitions, and we were out here swimming like fish. All right, our triathletes were winning, our 400 meter athletes were winning, our this, our that, and the other. All right, very peachy and very well. God gave us sporting success so that the pain of apartheid, the sorrow of segregation, would be quickly overwhelmed by sporting victory, especially given that we were left out of things like the Olympics during the reign of terror of apartheid. So now that we were winning sports, white people, black people, everybody could come together in a rainbow nation and be like, hey, we got this, yo, hey. God expedited reconciliation, is what I'm getting at. The Lord expedited reconciliation through sports. He did that for us. It was a happy time. It was a juicy time. It was a juicy time. It was a really good time, and it looked like we were going to be good. But then the black government and its Nelson Mandela signed the country's soul over in a way that became observable over the next coming years. The black government would only ever go on to tear this country apart and create, therefore, the division that God was fixing with giving us sporting success. The division that God was eradicating, because remember, we got out of apartheid because we were a praying country. South Africa has always been a Christian nation, even though for a season it actually was wreaking havoc in people's lives through systematic oppression. It has always, however, been a Christian nation. So the saints in this land prayed for oppression to end, including those that were also in the white community that did not like the oppressive regime. Okay, so God heard the prayers of the saints